New tonight, the Dow plunging 880 points on the news that inflation hit a 40-year high in the U.S., an 8.6% increase in May. That is even worse than economists expected. And by the way, they didn't think it was going to be good. According to Moody's Analytics, the average household is paying $460 per month more for the same goods and services compared to a year ago. Okay, that's just not money that exists for so many people. Groceries are up nearly 12%. I'm sorry, that's the highest increase since 1979. Airfare, 38%, biggest hike since 1980. Bodywork for cars up nearly 14%, a 41-year high. Rent, biggest increase since 1987. Fuel oil, more than doubling. That is the biggest increase ever. President Biden telling Americans that Putin's invasion of Ukraine is to blame and that he is committed to bringing prices down.
Make no mistake about it. I understand inflation is a real challenge to American families. Today's inflation report confirmed what Americans already know. Putin's price hike is hitting America hard.
OutFront now, economic analyst Jim Bianco. Now, Jim, look, we're talking about price increases that have not been seen in a generation, right? And if anyone has any recollection of a lot of those dates I was mentioning, that was some of the worst inflation this country's ever seen, right? In the end of the 1970s, beginning of the 1980s, right? I mean, you had mortgage rates at that point surging double digits, well above, right? Because of the horrific inflation that was seen. And a lot of these prices we're seeing now are at a higher increase than they were even then. So just how bad is it right now?
Oh, it's bad because let's remember what inflation is. It is a loss of purchasing power that affects every single person in the country. It affects Elon Musk. It affects SpaceX. It affects Tesla. It affects people that are on public assistance. It affects everybody in between. That's the thing about inflation. Unemployment affects a couple of percent of the population, and it's very unfortunate when they lose their job, but it doesn't affect everybody. So when you think about it in those terms, this is why the inflation rate is such a big deal. And I might add, why you saw another statistic also out today, the University of Michigan has been doing a consumer confidence survey since 1952.
Yep.
And its worst reading ever was June this year, this month. It wasn't 1980. It wasn't the stock market crash. It wasn't the tech bubble, or it wasn't the financial crisis or 9/11 or the COVID shutdowns. The worst reading in 70 years in the consumer confidence is right now, because of this fear of inflation.
Now, look, what we've seen in terms of energy prices, that obviously is related to Ukraine, and that's hurt, okay? But this didn't start with Ukraine, okay? It started well before Ukraine. There's a lot of other reasons for this. President Biden has been calling this the Putin price hike. He did it today. He's done it other times. Here he is.
Let me start with the Putin price hike. This is a Putin price hike. I'm doing everything in my power to blunt Putin's price hike.
Politically, I get why he says that. Obviously, it's a lot more complicated than that. How much does Putin's invasion of Ukraine have to do with the inflation crisis we're seeing in the U.S., Jim?
It has a small impact. It's not zero. The price of crude oil is a big component of why gas prices are going up.
Right.
But gasoline prices at an all-time high are not consistent with an all-time high in crude oil prices. Part of that is because refining capacity is down in the country over the last couple of years. First because of COVID, then because of a lot of green rules as well. Also, if we're talking about inflation, there's a lot more going on than just oil prices when it comes to inflation. You mentioned some of the statistics earlier about getting your car repaired or airline tickets. Those are not direct oil inputs like crude oil prices would be. So when you add it up, the Putin price hike is a factor, but it's not a dominant factor in what's going on with inflation.
Which I think is really significant. When you say it is a factor, but not even the dominant factor. It's important for people to understand. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you.